I always feel like I'm waiting around for this day, and then whenever this day comes, it's like all this stuff comes, and I'm like, stop it.
Mm-hmm. That's how she goes.
But you're gonna love this. I'm getting a guy to come over next week, blow out the lines in my pool.
All
And
We
right.
love it when you get guys to come over to blow your lines.
well, I figured it would be a lie if I said it
Is
was
that a
girls.
cocaine joke or a sex joke?
I think it's a little
It's
bit
a
of both.
I think it's a swimming pool joke.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, I only do.
Buzz Killington.
I only have sex and do cocaine in swimming pools. So it's a
True.
three
True.
At the same
Dude,
time.
Zimmy came in to shut down the party.
All right, everybody, go home.
It's a swimming
Party's
pool joke.
Yeah, no more fun. Well, without further ado, here we go. Episode number 10. Numero 10. I can't believe it. I've said this after every one. Hey guys, we got to another episode, but I mean number 10? Come on. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. So we got a lot going. We've been trying to keep up with the metal news. Here it is, Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. And a Happy New Year. I guess that's really the next one coming. This is the last show of the year. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That's right. So maybe that's like the end of season 1. You know, and we start season 2. I don't know. I haven't quite figured out how to do the seasons.
10 episodes per season.
Or just this year, because we only had part of the year. But either way, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So we're having a lot of fun talking about a lot of metal and just trying to keep it going, trying to see what else is out there. But we got another show for you here tonight, this evening. And let's get it started off with Brutal Brando. Say hi to everybody.
What's up, blockheads? Hope you all had a good Christmas or holiday or Xmas or whatever the hell you celebrate.
Chanukah?
Yeah, or Chanukah, Kwanzaa, all the above.
Well, yeah. How about you, Scary Greg? And actually, today, I forgot to mention this last week. I forgot to say his name. I think, what was it, Mike Roch?
Yeah, I think it was Mike Roch, maybe last week. I can't remember, to be honest.
It was
Today, my name is Dixie Normus. Dixie Normus. It's a good one. It's a good one. But yeah, I'm good. Hope everybody had a good Hanukkah and a good Christmas and a good Kwanzaa or whatever it is you do. Yeah, it's good week with the fam, kicking it, doing some good stuff. Nothing too death metal like, but well, I guess we jammed a song a little bit there. We did have a little bit of metal in our Christmases with each other, which we can talk about that later. But yeah, doing good. Hope everybody had a good one out there, and that you two had a nice holiday with your family.
Yeah, that's awesome. I, like you, hope everybody had a good Christmas. Sounds like everybody did. Brando's kid made out like a bandit. Brandon, tell us about the pooping flamingo. Is that a flamingo?
Yeah, it's flamingo. Pretty awesome. I saw a video and I went looking for it and I found it and I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting that for her.
Well, what is it?
What's it do?
It's a little animatronic flamingo that you feed, and I guess it's like, what's it called? Hydrophobic sand or something. So you fill the toilet up with water, you feed this flamingo, and it will actually record what you say and repeat it back to you, which is pretty funny. But after you fed it enough and it eats, like the neck wiggles and it like chokes this sand down and sings this song where it just goes like, uh-oh, gotta go. And then you're supposed to put it on the toilet. And it poops out this hydrophobic sand and it creates this little like air bubble around the sand in the water and it looks like little piles of turds. And it's hilarious, man. It's pretty cool. Like you dump the water out and the sand is like reusable and it's dry immediately because it's hydrophobic. So like it doesn't get wet.
Right.
It's pretty sweet. I was playing with it earlier tonight. Took it over to show Schemer, my dad.
Is that the same as the kinetic sand?
No, I think it's different than because it doesn't stick to itself. Kinetic sand does, kind of like wet mud. We also got a hide and go seek, like poop.
So you like go and hide it, and then
it's like a little plastic, colorful turd, like poop emoji thing, and it will fart and whistle and make noises to help you. Like it's basically if you played Call of Duty, it's prop hunt with a little poop emoji.
Nice.
Like one person hides it and you press a button and then it starts like whistling and trying to give you hints to find it.
There you go.
That's pretty good. It was a poopy Christmas, a very howdy ho
That's
for
right.
Brandon Brutal Brando and his family over the holiday.
The poop humor is strong in the
A
crowd
little bit
house.
of a little fecal Christmas. Why not?
Gross.
That's good. That's good. Glad you had a shitty Christmas.
Yeah.
Dude. It's quite shitty. It was hilarious.
Well, it sounds like a great time. So let's talk about the album. What do you guys think?
Make them beg for death. Dying
Yes.
Fetus. That was
Yes.
good, man. It's their ninth studio album, actually. Came out in on September 8th, 2023. And what is it on? What's their record label? Relapse. They're still on Relapse, man. That's cool. That's OG.
Shit,
You don't
are
hear from
they?
a ton of bands. Yeah, they're on Relapse. But yeah, old John Gallagher and Sean Beasley and Trey Williams, the trio did it again. I thought it was awesome. It's got, the classic Dying Fetus riffs, and their vocals are
Yeah.
always superior, super gurgly, and I like the bassist vocals. That's when I'm back on a previous episode when I was saying that the vocalist of Tuner Stab Wounds has a Dying Fetus influence. I meant the bassist, like with the
Gotcha.
blah, blah, like they both do
Yeah.
that noise. If you go listen to 200 again, you'll hear it if you think about it. But yeah, man, super cool album. It's definitely Dying Fetus. It in your face, pounding. I know I keep saying in your face. That's a bad way to say a review, but see tons of positive praise from the community on this album. And I know that tour they just did what with the Acacia Strain and somebody else like
There's a
Despised
Despised
Icon.
Icon on it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. That is a hell of an album tour, man. Like, for support. That's super cool. So yeah, 2 thumbs up from Scary Greg.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I loved it too, man, or I do love it. I guess it didn't die after I listened to it. It's good, man. I love all the groove. It's tons of groove. It's like basically just a full-time mosh pit. That's what it feels like listening to
Circle
it.
Pit.
Yeah, and I was noticing too on, props back to Metal Archives, but like their ratings on their albums, their last 3 have all been 90% or better.
Nice.
This one, Make Them Beg for Death, actually has their highest rating of all their albums.
What is it?
92%.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good production. It was it looks like Right Way Studios in Baltimore. Is that where they're from? Is Baltimore?
I think originally, I think they're from Maryland, right?
Yep. That's Baltimore, Maryland originally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from I think when they started back in the early 90s.
They seem like some Maryland boys. Yeah, that's where they recorded. It sounds super good. It's definitely what was that? Wrong One to Fuck With was the one before this one. It was good, but I think it sounds a little bit better than that production wise. That was a really fun album too, though.
That was.
It was, yeah. Their concert was super super rad. They came to Tulsa and they sold out this place downtown, the Vanguard, with Violator's Murder and Rivers and Nile, and it was phenomenal. But yeah, they super tiny venue. Really cool band. I wish I would have seen that tour, but I just couldn't make it up to Lawrence. But Zimmy, what'd you think about it?
I loved it, man. You know what? Here's the thing. Like the first time I listened through it back whenever it came out, I don't know if I was distracted by some of the other albums that were coming out or what was going on, but I remembered I kind of listened through it the one time and I set it aside and I just didn't really think too much about it again. And I was really glad though, because I was following a lot of their tour whenever they were doing their tour, which I think they finished that up sometime in November. I can't remember, it was early or mid-November, maybe it was even end of October, but anyways, and they finished in Boston. And because I remember us talking about it on one of the episodes, and I went back and listened to it again after that because I got really excited about following them on social media. And I remember thinking like, man, like I need to re-listen to that album again. And then one day I finally did and I loved it. And then fast forward to where we are today, and we decided we were going to talk about it. And I was super stoked because I was already, familiar with it. I had already decided that I really loved it. And so it was just a chance for me to kind of dig in a little bit deeper. But man, it's a great album. I can't complain anything about it, really. And you talked about the Dying Fetus riffs, man. Here's the cool thing. A lot of these bands, maybe not a lot of these bands, but a lot of bands will talk about the consistency and how, yep, it's a lot the same as the last one that they did, and sometimes we're like, what else do we talk about? Because they're great bands and it really is great stuff. But something about this Dying Fetus album, even though it has the Dying Fetus riffs, it still felt new and fresh. And I love the 5th track, Unbridled Fury, man. I really loved that track. That had, in my opinion, some really good Dying Fetus riffs. And you know what else that was cool about this album? It was actually pretty technical too. Not all songs had like over the top technicality in it, but when it was appropriate that they put that in there, or when they put that in there, it seemed very good. It was just as technical as any other band that I'm hearing play. They just don't overdo it. They have like a lot of good flavor and flair with their music, and they're just, whenever you're like, oh man, what's going on, they're back into some groovy, as you guys call them, mosh riffs. And
Yep.
they change it up a lot, but they still hold consistent with what they do, but it still feels so new and different. So a lot of good things, man. I thought whenever we were talking, I'd have all these like concise things to say, but I guess my thoughts still are a little bit scattered in the fact that I
get what you're saying. I mean, they'll do like some wild stuff on the guitars and all that, and it's not like complete noodling. Like they do it at certain like tasteful moments, like maybe at the end of a riff, where they'll have like a certain riff, like with blast beats along with it, where it's just like all over the place, sweeps and all that, but they still do it tastefully, and always they go straight back in like their chunky stuff. Like it's more groove and headbanging oriented. But yeah, I know what you mean. They definitely don't overdo it. They do it very well.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I like to think of those guitar things you're talking about, Greg, as I call them guitar fills.
Guitar fills, yeah, there you go. That's a good way of putting it.
At the end of a riff, but it's the guitar doing it. And for me,
that's a really good way of putting it.
Feast of Ashes, track 3 is one that stood out to me a lot. Like I actually absolutely love that song. I think even their like groovy riffs are more technical than they sound. Like they're, like you said, they don't overdo it, but I think they're a lot more technical than it actually comes off as when you listen to it, because they do it in a way that makes it, I don't know if this is the correct term, like if it's even a word, but listenable,
Right.
like enjoyable to listen. It's not just an assault on your ears. It's like, it's rhythm, it's groove, and
It flows.
yeah, and it flows well. It's not just technical to be technical. It actually works. So, and not to say other bands don't do it to where it doesn't work. It's just, it works so well, it doesn't stand out as super technical, even though I think most of the stuff is,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Hey, here's a little fun fact about Dying Fetus, and I'll try not to mess up like I did last week with the fun facts.
You on the right tab?
Yeah, let's hope so. I did I push the right link? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Zoomy.
I noticed.
Boom.
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah. Throwing him off.
Yeah, the song Second Skin. Okay. Brandon, do you know what's special about that song?
Nope.
Let me try to figure out what album that is on, or if it is even on an album. I might have to come back to that. But it was featured in an episode of South Park.
Oh,
that's right. Yeah, they were on South Park.
Banned in China.
There you go, buddy. Banned in China.
Yeah, Butter's doing those backup vocals is the best. It looks so metal, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So
listening to them in an interview about that episode is really funny. They're just like, yeah, we got hit up, and all of a sudden we found out that we were in the episode. Like it was like kind of like blew their minds too.
I think it's from Reign Supreme, isn't it?
I don't know. Jimmy, do you know an album that's from?
It is on Reign Supreme.
There you go.
Ding, 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 ding.
Thanks.
Don't you doubt Brandon's Dying Fetus or his Rotten Sound trivia.
Yeah, that boy knows.
Oh, that's good. So, Brandon, I hope I'm not jumping ahead too early, but you actually thought up something fun that we could give a try for this week. Something we hadn't done before. So
yeah.
Let the folks know. The blockheads.
All right. So those of you that listened last week picked up on that we all three listen to different streaming platforms for our musical entertainment. So I thought, hey, wouldn't it be fun to pick an album like we do every week let that album play in its entirety, and see what our respective streaming platforms throw at us after the album ends. See what like-minded artists they give us, and see kind of compare today to see if we got the same kind of stuff, or what's the variation like, just to kind of
Let's
get
see
an
what they're
idea.
throwing our way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you never know too. Well, we might find something new that we haven't
Yeah,
heard, or
there you
that's
go.
less known. So
I did actually.
that
Go
was
ahead though. Go ahead, Brandon. Let's see
yeah
who.
that
Let's hear who you have.
all right. That was not the case for me, as
Oh,
I got some Suffocation, Seraphim Enslavement
nice.
off Hymns from the Apocrypha. Then
There
I
you go.
got Engineering the Dead by Aborted.
Okay.
Then I got I Come Blood by Cannibal Corpse.
Do you?
And One Day Closer to the End, Cattle Decapitation. And A
Nice.
Unilateral Disgust by Skinless from the
Good song.
great album Trample the
Good
Weak,
song.
Hurdle the Dead. So those were, I threw in Dead Skin Mask by Slayer too. I know we said we'd do 5, but I was like, yeah, these are all really good.
Yeah, all good
So,
tunes, classic
yeah,
tunes.
that's what I got. What did Greg? What did you get?
First one was a band I'd never heard of that was actually pretty killer. It was kick-ass song, super sludgy, chuggy guitars and nice, brutal death metal lows. Folky, or maybe Fulci, Fulci, and it was called Apocalypse Zombie, kick-ass. And then next after that, it was kind of funny. It was old Peeling Flesh, song called 211187 that had a bunch of good samples in it. I don't know what they were from, but they were funny. They do a really good job of hilarious samples, like kind of like it's all gangster, gangster movie type stuff. And then Decrepit Birth after that, Booyah. And Decrepit
Nice.
Birth, A Brief Odyssey in Time off the album Polarity. Then after that, Decapitated, and it was a newer Decapitated song that I've not heard because I really haven't. I'll be honest, I just haven't really gotten into the newer Decapitated era. A song called Locked. It seemed to have a lot of graphics on it that were going all over the place, so it seemed like it was probably one of their singles. And then to finish it, number 5, it was Disentomb, the boys from Down Under. Pyres built from their severed wings.
Nice.
Yeah, all killer songs too.
Awesome. Hey, what was the Fulci song?
It was called Apocalyptic or Apocalypse Zombie.
Okay, so I'm looking it up. I'm gonna check these guys out. It looks like it was on the album Tropical Sun, released in 2019. They have one other
Cool.
album called Exhumed Information from 2021. So
It sounded sick. Like it started
yeah, I'm
out,
gonna
and I
check
liked
it
it
out.
from the start.
Cool. I'm gonna check it out. I just added it to my library while we were talking. I was just curious. I couldn't remember what you said the song title was.
Oh yeah.
Zoomy,
See,
what did you
there
get?
you go.
I think I remember hearing Falsey come up on mine, not during my 5 shuffle songs here, but that's not the first time I've heard them. And yeah, I'm going to have to give them a listen too. But no, for my 5 songs, I actually got Suffocation, Hymns from the Apocrypha, the title track off the album. So the song is Hymns from the Apocrypha off the album, Hymns from the Apocrypha. So just like you, Brandon, except you had Seraphim Enslavement, but a song off the same album. I had 200 Stab Wounds,
Nice.
Masters of Morbidity, which is one of the songs they released. Oh, I forget now. We talked about
more
this
recently.
Yes, thank you, Greg. I was about to say it, but I was afraid I was going to say the wrong thing. So thank you.
No, yeah, they released it recently. It came out as like a single. I can't remember when, maybe 6 months ago or something. But yep, that's it.
Okay, good deal. Cattle Decap, Solastalgia. So
Nice.
I guess the one that was kind of their one of their popular ones that came off the new album Terracite.
Mm-hmm.
Then Brandon, I also had a Slayer song. It was Catalyst, good Slayer song.
Nice.
And then I had Cannibal Corpse, Unleashing the Bloodthirst, off of Bloodthirst, which was kind of interesting. It shuffled me to that one because I actually don't listen to the album Bloodthirst too often.
That's one of my favorites by them.
I was about to say that's the one that I need to be listening to more of because that was a cool song. And I mean, I've listened to the album before. It's not that I haven't, but what did we say? Cannibal Corpse has like 16 or 19 albums, studio albums. So
103.
It's something, a lot. Infinity.
Yeah. Just quick note that Masters of Morbidity single by 200 Stab Wounds came out November 11, 2022.
Oh man,
over a year ago.
Yeah.
So
it's been a minute.
I think-
They need to get in the studio.
I know
Yep.
they've been touring. They've just been touring, right?
Uh-huh.
Well,
Mhm.
there's a acting up single by Pain of Truth and 200 Stab Wounds, one song.
Yeah, I'm like
That came out June 20th of this year.
Yeah, that didn't really. It was different. It was different. I'll put
That
it that way.
doesn't count.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, cool. There you have it, folks.
There you have it. Well, cool. Sounds like
So
we all enjoyed Make Them Beg for Death quite a bit, and all got some good classics for you guys, and we all got full seat. We'll check them out. Solid, good suggestion.
Yeah,
Definitely.
See, if all that was just for that one good band to check out, it's worth it.
Right?
it's worth it.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fun exercise too. I mean, it seems like they kind of give some similar stuff, but there was some good variation there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I
Well,
dig it.
we're always trying to stay on a schedule, and it's nice to just cut loose every now and then and just be like, I'm just going to see what the old radio brings me.
Yeah.
Just cutting loose, baby.
So
I like
I was
it.
actually noticing something, and I'm not trying to jump around here, but did Children of Bodom release something recently?
They released
would've been
it's a recording of their final show.
Oh, okay. I just saw a headline about Children of Bodom, and I thought, what's going on with them? I didn't know that there was going to be anything else. But okay, yeah. Here it is, Brandon. You're right. The final show in Helsinki, Ice Hall, 2019.
I think that's
I
where
wonder
they're
if
from.
that's like Alex's family doing that, or if it's like the rest of the band members, that it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked that much into it.
Anybody who didn't get a chance, go listen to that show. Children of Bodom rocks. It sucks that was their last one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what else you guys got?
Well, I saw. I'm not very. I don't know if very many people will be excited about this, but I saw that Ghoul has a new one coming out next year. I went ahead and pre-saved it in my library. I'm a Ghoul fan, so
Nice. How long have they been around? They've been around for a while, huh?
yeah, they've been around for a little while for sure. I don't know exactly.
So here's something kind of interesting. This brings me back to my high school days. Head Planet Earth, Head PE.
Head PE.
Yeah, they released an album called Detox. So I have not listened to this. As I was skimming through some of the headlines just now of the stuff that came out this week, I don't know if that means it's came out or that it's going to, because some of the stuff doesn't even have days on it. It just says 12/15 to 12/31. So this is really second half of December. But, we still got a few days left. And I just happened to see that Head Planet Earth was still out there doing something.
Yeah,
which,
how about that?
Good for them, man. I'm actually gonna have to check it out just because it's gonna, a little nostalgia there. I remember a lot of that rap metal whenever that came out in the late 90s, 2000s. Everybody was trying to be Rage Against the Machines, and everybody could do it as good. There was this band called 1 Minute Silence that came out of Ireland, and they were really awesome, and they were supposed to be this new rap metal band that was going to be able to compete with Rage, but a lot of people just didn't understand all their politics, and so in the States it just didn't take off. So anyways, there's my little run on the 90s 2000s rap metal. So
nice. I saw Ozzy was saying in the news that he's not going any fucking where, and he's going to do more shows after he's done. I was reading that on Metal Sucks earlier. One big more run, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I think he can handle it.
All right, cool.
Ozzy, he's a national treasure at this point, and I was actually reading that he has never liked the metal genre tag being applied to him, and I always thought,
nice,
yeah, I think that's cool because he just kind of got stuck there because nobody really had a spot. Like there wasn't anything like Ozzy Osbourne stuff, and there's Black Sabbath before, which Black Sabbath was metal. It was the beginnings of metal, and it's almost like he just naturally went into or stayed in the metal genre, even though the metal genre continued to evolve. Ozzy, vocally, he continued to sound like Ozzy, but I don't know. I guess where I'm going with it is I thought it was kind of cool. He came out and he was like, I've never really liked being called metal. And for me to hear him say that, I always thought, I never really 100% thought you belonged in there either.
I didn't either. Whenever I was like growing up, even I'd listen to Black Sabbath or even Ozzy and be like, this doesn't seem like metal. I loved it. I loved growing up to that. And his concerts are a very, very fun time. Like even at his old age, I've seen him several times, solo, and then with Black Sabbath when they did that reunion tour, probably it was like 15 years ago. But at Ozfest, man, he'd be going nuts, just running around there like 65 years old, slamming buckets of water in people's faces and just losing his mind. He's a hell of a showman, that's for damn sure.
I think he's pretty. I mean, I guess you'd have to be in it for your entire life, but he's pretty serious, and I think they run a tight ship. And
it.
Yeah, if you watch the Randy Rhoads documentary, and he talks about being called for, I think that might be on Amazon Prime. It's on one of the streaming services that's out there. It's either like Prime or Paramount or something like that. But he talks about getting the call and from Ozzy, and then them being like, "Hey, we're going to fly you up, and we're going to have you play, and we want to hear what you got to play." And I don't know. He just talks about that experience and how nerve-wracking it actually was because of how professional and business it was. That was back in the 80s. So Ozzy had already been doing it, I guess, for 15 years or something by then. I can't remember.
Yeah, I guess with Sabbath.
Yeah, maybe only like 10 years, maybe not quite 15 yet. But,
yeah.
But either way, he and his wife, they know how to.
Back when like metal and rock were like big business, and then the record world still, and like I know some, rock bands and metal bands still get big, but like back then, it was like as big as rap, if not bigger. And I mean, he probably was making so much money and such large deals on the line. I'm sure it was quite the business by that point in his life.
Yeah, for sure. So, but anyway, yeah, here's to Ozzy, and still doing it, and I think that's great. Patient number 9 wasn't that bad actually for anybody who actually gave it a listen. I mean,
there you go.
They had a bunch of different guitarists on each song had a different guitarist, so it was real cool. Each one had a different sound. It was like Ozzy's album, it wasn't Ozzy's band. Anyway,
dude, I'm thankful for him. Ozfest were some of the best experiences of my life. We'd drive from like high school and all throughout college to all the ones in like Dallas and St. Louis and Kansas City. Man, we loved Ozfest. That was a good time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, those were big too,
Yep.
So anyway, I have actually not checked this band out, guys, but I don't know if you have. This is another Texas band, but they're called Womb Rot. Womb, like baby in the womb.
Mm-hmm. I think I've seen the name before, but I've never heard them.
That sounds like another band that needs to be on that tour with Stillbirth and Dying Fetus and
the kindergarten tour.
Decrepit Birth and Aborted. Yeah.
Birth, the kindergarten tour. Yeah. Womb Rot. Sounds awful. Oh, so I don't know. That's kind of the stuff that I've seen that's really came out this week. Probably a little bit slower with Christmas time. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to release a song. We should release a song on Christmas Day one time, just so while everybody else is out there taking it easy, we're still putting some metal out.
Well,
there you go.
Deicide beat you to it this year, buddy.
They did. I saw that. There's good metal news. Yeah, Deicide released a song on Christmas, didn't they, Brandon?
Yes, they did.
Right, about burying your cross or whatever.
Bury your cross with your cross.
That's what it was. Yeah. I did see that. Of course, they would release that on Christmas Day.
Yeah, I think that was the point.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's badass. Oh, Glenn.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I have a Dickies jacket that I've got a bunch of patches on, like where where your heart is. It's just Glenn Benton's face with the upside down cross burned into his head, and it says Glenn Benton for president on it.
Nice. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean,
great.
Just as good as any other choice, really. So
yeah, that's right. I was gonna ask you guys what you thought about this. It was another Metal Sucks article I came across. It was like probably a week old or something, but the title was "The Pandemic Slowed Creed's Return. At least the lockdown was good for one thing."
Well, I'm just going to tell you that I think it's great that they're coming back and making music again. So that's part of what, like, I remember being in 6th grade in history class, whenever you weren't really allowed to have like Walkmans or CD players, which were like Discmans, I guess, little travel CD players at the time. You weren't allowed to really have those in school, but we were having them, and we were listening to bands like Creed and Days of the New.
Yeah. Days of the New. Awesome. I haven't heard that name in a long time. That's a killer throwback. Man, that's
But to be
hilarious. And
fair,
yeah.
I didn't have an older brother to teach me metal or anything. I was the older brother. I had to go and pave the way. And so
Right.
I had to listen to all these other bands first before I found, my rut.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because my buddy, this kid Blake Hale that I grew up with, his older brother was kind of the kid that, my cousin Trey listened to Pantera and Led Zeppelin and Metallica and stuff, so that definitely helped me pave the way. And I had some really cool fifth graders when I was in second grade, and there were these fifth graders that wore leather jackets and Megadeth T-shirts and Metallica T-shirts, and I won't lie, those kids, I thought they were the coolest kids on the planet. They kind of shaped me into wanting to listen to metal. I was like, I have to listen to Metallica, but to go back to that, my best friend's brother, he listened to this band Lords of Acid. Have you ever heard of them?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It's Al
Yeah.
Jorgensen, I think, isn't it, from Ministries band?
Oh, I have
Or
no,
Yeah.
no idea. I just remember the album covers and stuff.
I remember.
Oh my God! Well, it was Al Jorgensen had a hand in that stuff, and I think it was his band even. But just the weirdest shit on the planet that a 10-year-old does not need to be engulfing in. And yes, the covers were wild. It was
Yeah.
wasn't it like naked devil women?
Yep.
All
Yeah.
cartoony.
Yeah, all cartoony with like just huge jugs. Yeah, for
Yep.
sure.
Yeah, like big pitchfork tails, and all that.
Yep. Okay, I'm glad you guys knew about that. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'm not the only one.
I remember all that stuff. You got to like crawl before you can walk, and you got to taste like all these different kinds of music. And I remember you talked about your cousin Trey, like listening to Metallica, and so that helped. Well, my mom got me a Metallica shirt at a garage sale one time. Okay, so I was in fifth grade. I was in fifth grade, and the album Load was about to come out. Okay, yeah, and so I have this shirt that says Load. And it was like brand new. And I thought it was the coolest thing. And I remember wearing it to school and being called out for not knowing all their songs.
Oh no.
And not that I didn't know all of their songs, but like I couldn't even name one. I was just like, Metallica's cool. I know they're cool. And I got this shirt. And I didn't even know that was the new album or anything. And I remember that being like a very big learning experience. And so what I did is I went home, and I remember I told like my mom that I had to, figure out how to listen to this band, because if I'm going to be wearing the shirt, I got to be listening to the music.
That's right.
The thing was, we didn't have the internet back then. You couldn't just go and stream, So I had to go find cassette tapes that I could find that had it. And I think the first cassette tape I found was the Black Album.
Yep.
And so there you go. The rest is history with Metallica.
That is so funny. I had, as you were saying, Load, I was thinking just about my cassette tape that I had of the Black Album. And then I got my first CD player, and I got Enema by Tool, October Rust by Typo Negative, and that Metallica, the Black Album on CD. And I thought that those, God, man, I'll never forget it. That's crazy.
So I'll share one more thing. My first CD, I guess, CD I went out and bought whenever I got my first CD player, which my first CD player was like $300, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Like that. And I didn't even buy them in the first wave whenever they were like 800. But anyway, Antichrist Superstar, Marilyn Manson.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I remember like holding on to it in the record store and taking it up to my mom and being like, this is the one I want. And she looked at it and she went, okay. And I thought, because
no way.
I thought there was no way she was going to let me do
my
that.
mom was a total anti-Marilyn Manson person. I mean, a freak about it. So what I did is I went, and Braxton had Antichrist Superstar, and it's got like Twiggy with the gas mask coming off of Marilyn's, dick and all that, breathing it in. So I had tried that with my mom, and she was like, absolutely not. And she was, I'll just say it, sorry, Braxton, if you're listening to this, but she just wasn't a fan of when I'd go to your house and what your mom would let me do. So anyways, I go to Braxton's house because you could cuss and burn toys and break stuff and like sneak out. It was you could do whatever you wanted, really. It was crazy. But anyways, it was some of the best times of my life. But she takes us to the mall, and we could get whatever CDs we wanted, So what I did is I went and got Marilyn Manson Lunchbox, because we each wanted to get a different one. I think actually that's when Braxton got Antichrist Superstar, but I got Lunchbox. And if you open the CD up, he is doing a full mangina on a big velvet bed. And that's what you open it up, is just him like spreading his lips open with his 2 fingers with lipstick all over the place doing a mangina. And anyways, I go and I take it home. I hide it under my bed, and I'm just so stoked about this happening to Marilyn Manson album. You know, I'm so pumped about it. My mom finds the receipt that I left in the trash can to the CD and comes storming in and made me pull that out. And then found, opens it up, and it's just a mangina right in her face. So
Your mom's like Sherlock Holmes, man.
dude, I got in a lot of trouble, dude. I got a it was Vaseline. Who was Vaseline? Stone Temple Pilots. I got my first tape I actually got on Christmas of Stone Temple Pilots, and she read the entire liner book and found one F word and threw it in the trash.
Oh,
yeah,
like
that's what I did. So of course I listen to death metal now.
Of course.
So,
but anyways, sorry, that's my story.
No, that's awesome. I'm actually curious, just from all of this. I know we did get a little off track, but I thought it was great. But Brandon, when I met you in 9th grade, 10th grade,
Yeah,
10th grade,
9th grade. It was 99.
you were already listening to some heavy metal then. I mean, a lot of it was like new metal at the time, but it was the metal that kind of that we grew up with. So what got you into heavier music? Where did you start? What did you listen to in the beginning?
Man, I think I kind of started with grunge a little bit, like grunge and pop punk, like Blink-182. The first thing I got really excited about as a kid was Nirvana.
Oh man, yeah.
Like Nirvana, and then Green Day and Blink-182, that kind of stuff. And then, man, I started learning guitar, and my guitar teacher, Mr. Mike Sadowak, got me into Pantera, and it was just down the pitch or frequency, whatever. It just lower and lower tones from there. I just started getting into heavier and heavier stuff once Pantera came into my life. But like, I think at first, it was like Pantera, some of the early Static X and Sepultura, like Chaos AD and Roots and Arise, that kind of stuff. Some of the earlier
Absolutely.
Deftones, I liked that, like Adrenaline and Around the Fur. Those,
Oh, heck yeah.
that kind of stuff, I think is kind of where my metal journey began. And then from there, started hanging out with Trevor, who hung out with Kirk, who, I think Nile was one of the first one. Nile and Cannibal Corpse were some of the first like death metal bands I started getting into. So it all just kind of started getting heavier and heavier from there, man.
It'll do that quick.
Yeah, it will. I remember when I was a kid, like, and I first heard Cannibal Corpse, I was like, I think the same thing every other person thinks. How can you listen to that? You can't, like,
oh man,
what is that?
That is so funny you say that. I think everybody has their own little moment with Cannibal Corpse from being a kid, and more than Ace Ventura. I skateboarded to this CD shop, and it was called CD Warehouse, and you could take a discman there, and you could listen to CDs. You could test them out. It was all used CDs.
I remember that place.
Yeah. So I would go and listen to like the hardest, scariest, craziest stuff I could find, and I was never going to buy any of it. But yeah, I'll never forget putting in Cannibal Corpse, listening to it, and just thinking, this is so stupid. This is so stupid. Why would anyone want to listen to this crap? Like, I mean, and then here I am.
So
But
here's what's funny. Justin Poole was in my art class in 9th grade. And there was also Clayton Trammell, which, Greg, I know you don't know, but Brandon, you might remember Clayton Trammell. Clayton listened to rap music. I mean, like Jay-Z, Tupac, you listen to rap. Justin Poole listened to Cannibal Corpse. Justin Poole used to always come over. I didn't even really listen to a whole bunch of anything back then. I never like really took my stuff to school that often. I'd gotten it taken away so many times. I was like, I'll just not take it. But Justin Poole was always like trying to come over and get us to listen to the Cannibal Corpse. And the first time I heard it, I thought it sounded like a bunch of pigs, like oinking, like oink, 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 oink. And I was like, that just sounds like a bunch of pigs, man. So yeah, that was my first experience. So everybody else out there, I know that this is a metal podcast, and you're probably not going to have like your Better Homes and Gardens moms listening to this. But hey, Cannibal Corpse sounded weird to us too the first time,
I think that was everybody.
Yeah, it's like a good beer. You just got to keep trying it, and you're like, this is good.
Yeah, what really sent me down like the exact. I remember my first album that I really got really serious about, like that was extreme metal, was actually was Cradle of Filth, Cruelty and the Beast when I was 12
Oh,
years
yeah.
old. I mean, I was listening to hard stuff, but when I really heard that, I was just like the highs. I was like, what in God's name is happening? But I loved it. I loved the artwork, and I went down a serious Cradle of Filth obsession after that. But yeah, it's just hearing that and just thinking like, why are they doing that? I don't know, but it ends up hitting you in the right way, and then and getting a 20-year-long obsession about it.
So I'm actually going to give a little credit to Pink Floyd, because if you ask me, and somebody
yeah.
else can correct me, but if you ask me, that Pink Floyd is the first band I ever heard do the death metal scream, that Danny Filth sound that he always does. She reaches that high pitched thing. But in the songs, Another Brick in the Wall, Part 1 and Part 2, Pink Floyd, in between 1 and 2, they do the black metal squeal. So scream, squeal, whatever. So check it out. All you people who got, that Pink Floyd started the black metal.
So do people say that other than you, or is that just your personal thing? I mean, I bet there's so many people that get real serious about the first black metal scream on recording.
So I've never actually went and Googled where is the first black metal scream, but from everything I've heard, that's the earliest time stamp I can
metal
find
scream.
It's a black metal scream. Check it out after you get off here. Go listen to it. It's right in between whenever it switches from the Part 1, Another Brick in the Wall, to Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. Whenever it switches songs, he does that scream. You'll know it.
So it's at the beginning of Part 2 is what you're saying.
Yeah, I guess
that's
so.
What it sounds like.
It might be, but usually they play the two together, I guess. And so I never know if it's at the end of 1 or the beginning of 2.
Gotcha.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
There you go, Brandon.
Cool.
Brandon doesn't want you to listen to Part 1, okay? Brandon just wants you to listen to Part 2.
Hey, man, I'm just saying, if you don't want to listen to 8 minutes of music, you just want to go find that screen. We're like, oh, look.
Touche.
They've got enough streams.
Yeah, no kidding. They do. So, well, all right. There's our trip down memory lane for everybody out there. There's your little history lesson on how we got to where we are right now. Well, there's a lot more to that story that y'all don't even know, but there's we'll try to fill in.
They'll survive.
Yeah, over time. You're right. They're probably like, oh, thank God. They're done.
Yeah, if there's anybody still listening.
So Jeff, if you're listening still.
I think we're coming up on time, so I wanted to run one more little more of a short-term trip down memory lane, and since this is the last episode of 2023, I wanted to ask each of you before we close it out, what was either your favorite release, favorite show, favorite bit of news? What was your number one top highlight from 2023 in the metal universe?
Take it away, Greg.
Oh, you're asking us that?
Yeah.
Oh, they were asking the crowd.
Well, them
my
too.
favorite
Comment
show
on Facebook and let me know.
Okay, I will. I would say my favorite show of the year though would be Kubla Khan. Just because I'd never seen him before, and it was such an amazing experience. What did you ask? You asked what favorite show and what else?
Well, just what's your number one highlight from 2023?
Seeing that band live, seeing Kubla Khan live. I lost my voice and screaming until I pretty much blacked out. It was great.
Awesome. Zumi?
This is tough, Brandon, but I'm gonna have to say Suffocation was my favorite show, and my close second, even though this isn't metal, was the Melvins. But Melvins are a little bit of my
that counts. That counts.
One of my guilty pleasures there, man. I freaking love the Melvins. And
cool. Well, how about a 2023 album from each of you? There were some good ones.
Album. Why can I not think of an album right now? I want to say Cal Decap.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Cal Decap.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Homo Deus.
All right, you little thief.
I
already knew you were gonna say that, Brandon.
No, that one is that one's up there for me. I would say that one's got to be my favorite for the year. Was that one and the Cause and Effect album, which stupid me, I'm losing my train of thought and can't remember what the hell it was called.
I know I'm forgetting an album, but definitely probably 5 albums that came out this year. But I really like the EP that Knocked Loose put out.
Yeah.
That was damn good, damn good. I know we don't really talk about Knocked Loose; they're more metalcore, hardcore, but super good EP.
Cool. The Cause and
Beneath the
Effect
Willows,
album
I
I'm
think,
thinking
or
of is
something.
Validation Through Suffering. I was drawing a blank on the name, but that album was sick as hell for me. And I think my favorite show was Pantera.
Nice, yeah,
Yeah.
lucky.
So
Pantera is one of my favorite news things, really, from this year. And I guess that was technically the end of 2022, but they didn't even they did like 1 or 2 shows in 2022. You know, they announced they were coming back. They did 1 or 2 shows like in December or something, and it wasn't even in the United States. I don't
they
believe.
did the South America
Yeah,
festival lineups.
and then it was 2023 is whenever they actually did all the U.S. stuff, and I missed them. They even came to Rocklahoma, but I want to see Pantera, but I don't want to see them in a fest. That's not true.
No way, I'm not doing it in Rocklahoma, dude. I couldn't do it.
But just Rocklahoma, it was actually just not the right time. It
Dude.
wasn't just Pantera, so it was hard for me to be like, I can't miss this, and so they're going to be back. But
I'm
Pantera,
right down the road from Pryor, and I wasn't doing it, man. It was like 106 degrees at that time. Humidity was
Oh, it
crazy.
was hot.
No, and I'm sorry. I don't know. No, nothing against Rocklahoma. I just the people are nuts. It's a intense festival to be at. So I didn't want to fight through that sea of people to actually get a good view of Pantera.
Right. Yeah. Well, 2023 is it's a good year,
It was.
We had lots to talk about, lots to enjoy whenever it came to metal. Brandon started playing guitar again. So
Woo. Yeah.
I'm super stoked about that because that means I started playing bass again.
Nice.
And Greg was throwing down some drums. So going to close this out, looking ahead, we will have some original material coming out from the Metal Block members here. If anything, just so we can have some cool background music to play at the beginning and end of our podcast, But we are going to be writing some stuff, and it's going to be awesome. So we're going to take our time with it. We hadn't done it in a long time. We're rusty. We're old, but we're veterans by this point. So, guys, I think that was a great episode. I know we're a little bit longer. Maybe by the time we edit it down, it'll kind of be the normal time. But I think if nobody has anything else, we'll just go ahead and close it out. So nothing else?
No, sir.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for being with us today, tonight, whenever you're listening. Thank you for supporting us through listening, liking social media, checking out our stuff. It's the reason we do it. And here's to another year. So with all that, episode 10, 2023, Metal Block, over and out.
Later.
Thanks, though, to Clearly Canadian, our unofficial sponsor. Got to make sure we plug them, Don't want to get in trouble with the unofficials.
Yeah.
But
thank you, Brandon.
Yes. Y'all have a fantastic new year. Peace out, blockheads.